Right here we have all three sets in the brand new LEGO Star Wars Dioramas collection. Another series a lot like the helmet collection where it is targeted towards more of an 18 plus lineup and that I think we'll be seeing a lot more of in the next handful of years. So today we're going to take a little look at each of these individually, just go over my general thoughts on these and on the whole series overall. Maybe talk a little bit on what I think these will be worth as an investment towards the end, and maybe about some ideas of what I think we could be seeing next in this diorama series if it continues on. So before we get into the video, please like, subscribe. It is quick, it's easy, it is relatively painless, and it helps me out a whole lot, so please subscribe to the channel and see more LEGO Star Wars content. And let's just jump straight into it. The box designs for these all look really sharp still. It's that same just black background theme that we've been seeing since 2020, I think. And there's no reason that's going to change anytime soon because this is perfect. It still looks great. There's kind of like that swell in the background, like there's like that little red in the background behind these ones on the Death Star. And then the Yoda's Hut one, it looks like more of a bluish green in the background, if you can kind of see. Like, it's in there, it's really subtle, but very sharp, definitely very sharp. I love these a lot. The instruction manuals you can see here come in all different shapes and sizes, which is kind of surprising given that the piece count is pretty similar for all three of these. But if you open them up and page through them a little bit, you'll see all of them are kind of the same. Like, it's got this little quote section, like you have a little saying about the design and stuff, some stuff from the designer, talks about the scene in the movie. Got a lot of nice little pictures and stuff in there, which is really cool to see. If you want the extra details and stuff, it's in a couple languages. So it's cool that they went through the extra mile just to put some extra stuff in there that's not really necessary. It's just nice to see. And then, of course, it's just your regular old instruction manual. There's nothing too crazy in there. Let's see what it has at the back. Just a parts list and stuff. So nothing too crazy at the end. Not really a list of all the sets that came out at the same time or anything. So, yeah, pretty straightforward there. The first one up is the Death Star Trench Run, set 75329. Clocking in at 665 pieces and retailing in the US for $60 US. So not a bad deal there as far as price per piece, although a lot of them are a lot of these like smaller like greeblings and 1x1s and cheese slopes and stuff like that. But this is one that people say the most about being like overpriced, and kind of think like definitely the pictures didn't do it justice. Like I definitely considered it overpriced at first, but now that I've actually owned it and I built it and stuff, like I think it really is worth the money. I feel like everyone always says, oh, it'd be better if it was $10 cheaper, but people say that for like everything, and I think that's kind of just a LEGO Star Wars fan thing. Like, even if every single set was $10 cheaper, I feel like everyone would still say, oh, I'd buy this if it was $10 cheaper. So, like, I think that's more of a person problem than an actual set problem. So I think it's fine, but realistically, if you want to wait and get it cheaper, I'm sure it'll be on sale at like Walmart and Target and Amazon and stuff if you wait like several months. So maybe hold off for that if you're not in a hurry to get this set. But this includes some pretty decent looking micro builds of this TIE fighters and X-Wings here. I do like that it has the printed 1x1s for the cockpit windows for all the TIE fighters. So that's really cool. And probably my favorite piece in the whole set, the exclusive one, is this 1x1 with R2-D2's head printed on it. It looks really cool. It's super cute. I'm glad they did that, and it's not just like a 1x1 stud like they would normally do in these mini sets like this. It kind of, honestly, not gonna lie, reminds me of like a squished bug, if I can get this to focus, but it just looks... R2 just looks really flat for some reason, because obviously it's a flat piece, and he's kind of like a domed head, so it just looks kind of weird that it's printed on this flat piece, but still a very fine addition. They really hit perfection with the micro X-Wing finally. Like, this is easily the best little X-Wing they've ever done. I love that they used like the diamond pieces for the exhaust there on the back. The lightsaber blades for the blasters on the TIE fighters look really cool. I believe it is a new type of green for the lasers here. Like, I think that's what they're doing for all the lightsabers now. It's like frosted transparent or something like that. Like, if you look at Mace Windu's lightsaber in the new tank and compare it to the old one, you can clearly see the difference. I don't know if I have any of like the new green lightsabers around, but this is like the old ones from way back when, and I know those were definitely different. Here's a more recent one from 2019 from like the UCS Yoda or whatever, and you can't really see on the camera probably very well with the lighting, but it does look different, the 2019 one versus the brand new one. So they are utilizing like a different color lightsaber piece, so that's really cool to see here. The build experience for this was really great. It was just a little bit challenging. Like, you've got to pay attention to all the greebling and stuff, but there's a lot of really nice detailing in there. It's a very interesting build. I like a lot of the building techniques and stuff. It's definitely a really fun one. I'd recommend it for that. From the back side, there's not much to look at. It's obviously not meant to be displayed from that side, but I think it does look really nice on display no matter what. You've got a lot of different angles you can look at it too, unlike some of these, which we'll go over later. The cannon is a little bit posable, so it falls off really easily. Like, it's pretty weak. It's just connected by the one stud there, but you can angle that and kind of have it pointed towards Luke's ship a little bit. So definitely really cool. Not something we've seen a lot of before, like these models built off of like mini things. We've kind of seen it in these things I'm going to show you right here. These little vignette style things from the last few years that were the gifts with purchases for like promo events and stuff. So this is very similar, the same idea. Mine is like super dusty and weak. I think it's missing a couple pieces here just from getting moved and knocked around by cats and stuff over the years, but definitely a massive step up from what we saw before as like any iteration of something like this. So just the TIE Fighter, like this is so skimpy, and they actually like buffed them out just a little bit more on these. I think they just did a lot better job. So this is a new type of thing. There's a lot of potential for new sets going forward with stuff like this too, if they're going to do like builds off of these mini builds. But definitely a very cool one. I think it's underrated for sure. So these sets have this brand new feature that we've never seen before, which is these quote tiles, and the person who said it in like a darker font underneath, if you can see that. It says like a line that corresponds to the scene from the movie, which I think is pretty cool, a nifty idea. It's kind of weird, but more weird is the selection. Like, the Force is strong with this one. Pretty solid line from Darth Vader, but like, if I had the choice, I would have probably said use the Force Luke, like Obi-Wan's quote. Especially since it's kind of, it would have worked out perfectly because it's kind of meta, because it's like he's hearing it in his head, and like that being written on the thing that's like outside of the set, like it's not actually part of the Death Star. I think that just would have worked out well for the actual set, but it's still a solid choice. Like, it's not the worst one of the series for sure. The next one up I think is popularly regarded as the best, and I'd probably have to agree with that, but it's set 75330, Dagobah Jedi Training, with exactly 1,000 pieces, which is just nice to see for some reason, and retailing for $80 US. So this one is definitely the best value, I think, and pretty much anyone would agree, as far as not only price per piece, but what you're actually getting for it, and the types of pieces included, and how it looks. Definitely a really great building experience too, much like the Trench Run. Like, you'd think with all the 1x1 studs and stuff it gets boring, but they are pretty mixed up in there well with like studs and tiles and circles and stuff, so like it keeps it interesting. A nice little X-Wing wing right there too. Nice to see that included. I do have a much more in-depth breakdown of this and every single Yoda's Hut actually that ever has been made. That's a separate video, so I'll make sure to include a link at the end of the video for that. Yeah, not much interior play space or anything, but still a really great build, and it's meant for display, and it looks great on display. It has 3 really great minifigures. I know R2 and Luke definitely are exclusive. Yoda, I believe, comes in a previous set, but either way, he's still pretty rare at this point in time and very cool. You can't really take the hut apart and like get inside and play with it either, but again, that's not really the purpose of it, so it doesn't really matter that much. The quote tile on this one is probably the best one of all 3, and certainly the most iconic. It's do or do not, there is no try. Pretty much everyone in the world knows that line, even fan of Star Wars or not. Like, everyone's probably heard it at some point. And there's not really a better line they could have picked for that one. That's pretty much the only memorable dialogue from that scene anyways. And the last one we're going to take a look at is set 75339, Death Star Trash Compactor. So the set number is kind of out of sequence, which is sort of weird. But 802 pieces, retailing for $90 US, making this the most expensive one, despite not being the most pieces. And I think that's pretty controversial for some people. It's mostly because of the figures, I think, because there's like 6 of them, and I think 4 are technically exclusive at the moment, although we'll go over that in a second. But as far as the build, this is actually my brother's. I haven't built mine yet. He just had it built up, and I figured I'd just use it for the video, so I can't really comment much on the build experience, but it looks pretty solid. It looks a lot cooler than I thought it would, but just from looking at preliminary images and stuff. From directly above, this does kind of look weird and empty, just with the space that's required for these to slide. If I didn't show you, like, these can slide and close. Can't really do it with one hand. But it just looks kind of odd with all the blank space in there. Like, it looks just fine from in front. Looks like the trash and stuff kind of fills out and it looks good. But it just looks sort of weird and empty, so that's a thing, I guess. The minifigures all have like a specific spot where they have to stand for that to work too. You can't just toss them in there anywhere. They're like specific studs where you have to put them. I think the worst part about this one is the limited displayability. And what I mean by that is, like, you kind of have to look at it straight from in front here for it to be any good. Like, looking at the sides, there's just nothing to see here. Like, that's not really good display angle, or just walking past it just doesn't really look good from the sides. The back does have, like, the little Easter egg here. Like, it still doesn't look very good for display, but it's nice that it has the 2 minifigures here. Both exclusive at the moment. The 3PO, which is theoretically the same one as the land speeder, because like he's got the silver leg, but they did a dual mold for the land speeder, which is just dumb because they just talked about not wanting to do exclusive figures in UCS sets. And now they have just deliberately done it because they released like at the same time, and it's the same figure, and they clearly did it different and more special in that set, so that's just messed up and weird, but whatever. And R2-D2 here with back printing is also brand new. This and in the Yoda's Hut set for the first time finally have it. And it would just seem like such a Lego move if like the next time they release an R2-D2 it doesn't have back printing. Because like we saw that with Darth Vader when he came in the Bespin duel and the Death Star final duel, he had arm printing. Then they released the shuttle the next year and he was back to no arm printing. Then they put arm printing back on with his meditation chamber later, but I just could see that happening with R2. Like, we just see another R2 release and he doesn't have back printing. So I could just see that flipping back and forth. It just seems like the thing they would do. The quote tile on this one is probably what bothers me the most of all of them. Like, it's not bad. It's such a nitpicky thing to be bugged about, but that's just, like, it's a line. I don't think it's nearly the best line they could have used. Probably anything that Leia said would have been way better than that. Like, jump in the garbage chute, flyboy, or something like that, or put that thing away, you're gonna get us all killed. Like, everything she said is more iconic. It's like what established her as a strong female character. She's not just some head in the clouds princess that's here to be rescued. Like, she's an actual competent person here calling shots. And I just think any of that would have been a much better tribute to Carrie Fisher and to Leia's character and to just female characters in Star Wars than just this random thing Han said. So that's just kind of a nitpick that I have. I just think they could have had a better choice for that one. But the main reason you're paying more for this set is because of the minifigures having 6 versus the Trench Run having 0 and Yoda's Hut only having 3. So again, him and Luke are technically exclusive at the moment, but I assume next time they release a Stormtrooper, it's going to have this same torso and leg print, so you could probably just part these guys out by using just any old Stormtrooper and any old Han. To the best of my knowledge, the Leia and Chewie are the same as previous ones we've seen. The Leia doesn't have like the cloak piece or whatever for the legs, or it's like a dress or whatever. It's just regular white legs. So honestly, I'm sure we'll see 3PO again. We'll probably see R2 again, maybe not with back printing at first. And these guys will see their parts appearing again. So ultimately, I don't think any of these exclusive figures will be exclusive given enough time. So I think that kind of takes away from the whole idea of this costing more and being valuable just because of the exclusive figures. Still a very nice model for display for sure. Again, picture like the targeted group for this is like more adults and stuff. I could just picture this being in someone's office, like a businessman or like a banker, like a middle-aged banker dude has this in his office, and like some 45-year-old suburban white dad comes in to like refinance something or like get a loan for his brand new Buick, and he just sees this on the shelf and he gets super excited, and the banker's just like, but wait, there's more. And like he turns it around, he's like, look, we've got little R2 and 3PO back here. And then the dad just loses his mind and thinks it's the coolest thing ever. Like, I don't know why that comes to mind, but I could just see that being a thing. It just seems like the kind of nifty little office piece that old people have, because nifty things are what old people like. Like, it's got the features. It's like, oh, it does something. Look, it closes. Look, it has secrets. It does stuff and it has secrets. That's stuff that old people like, I think. So maybe this one will end up being a hit. I don't know. We'll have to see what the sales look like and see what ends up on sale first. But it probably would not hurt to wait and catch this one on sale at Walmart or Amazon or something if you wait several months and don't feel like paying the $90. I'm sure you could get it for like $80 or $75 or something if you just wait for the right time. So the added cost for having all 3 of these is about $220 US, which just seems like a lot. That's more than like the UCS R2-D2. It's more than the Land Speeder, more than like the UCS A-Wing, even though I think that just retired. But just looking at what you're physically getting and comparing that to, for a cheaper price, getting one of those UCS sets, like, it doesn't quite feel like it adds up. But it probably does, considering there's like so much little detailing in here. You've got added value with like the figures and stuff in there. This probably does come pretty close. And obviously at the end of the day, value is in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. Like, if you find it worth it, that's kind of the same theory that I'm finding with which one you should buy. Like, again, most people would regard this as the best. I would certainly recommend that as the best build, best everything, really. But whatever one you like the most is the one that you should buy, if I was going to say you should buy one in particular. So yeah, that's totally your call. Hopefully this video helps you make that decision on which one is better. If you're looking to bulk up on these or buy a few as like an investment, It's hard to say, like I said with this one, the figures are exclusive right now, but I don't think any of them are going to stay exclusive. I feel like all of those parts will be available in cheaper sets, or in other sets at the very least, and there's not really much there. It's like a muddy R2-D2. I don't think you'll see a muddy R2-D2 again in a lot of sets unless they do like a Playscale Yoda's Hut in the next handful of years, at which point it might just be slightly different print anyways. So if you're looking for exclusive figs, I think definitely the Yoda's Hut is going to be a better figure selection than this one, even though they have so many more. As far as printed pieces, like obviously the tile with the quote is exclusive for every single one. The Star Wars tile is less common. I think it does appear in other things though. And then for this one, it does have the R2-D2 tile if you want to go there. So that, I don't think we'll see that in another thing for a while. It does come as an extra piece, so every single person is going to have an extra one to spare. Same for like the window prints there, like they're pretty cheap and accessible. So not really that much exclusive stuff in these ultimately. I just think it'll be by desirability, and for the most part I think Yoda's Hut will be the most desirable like 5 or 10 years from now, so that one's probably the one that people want to buy the most, unless any of these like reappear in something. Although there are the most of the Yoda's Huts, like the Death Star trash compactor only appears one other time in like the UCS Star or Death Star from a few years ago. Actually from 2008 was the first one, so technically we've seen it before, although not as a standalone set, so it does have some appeal in that regard. This is kind of like its completely own thing, but a lot of people aren't just super hyped about this one for whatever reason. I don't know, just maybe because it's like the mini scale thing just doesn't get people hyped up too much, I guess. So yeah, I know I was going to talk about investment and stuff, and I really don't have much insight. Like that's all I can really offer. Like I wouldn't get too hyped about the exclusivity of those figs is really all I can tell you. As far as exclusive prints and pieces, like you can't really part any of these out because of the quote tiles. But it's probably easiest to part out the Yoda's Hut now that I think about it, because like there's so many little greebling and stuff that isn't like super common. So there's a lot to find for parting that out. I think it would be a lot of different sellers and stuff. So in that regard, I would still say Yoda's Hut would probably be the best one. And if you're going to buy some in bulk just to invest in, I would probably wait until they are on sale, so like you're not paying full price. So even just instantly, just selling it for full price after buying it cheaper, you'd be making a profit. So I don't know if I'm going to do anything like that. Investment is still kind of sketchy, and there's definitely a thin line between investing and scalping, which I wouldn't really agree with. But I might end up buying a bunch of these on sale, like maybe for Black Friday. So I might just buy a bunch of those and like sit on them for like 5 or 10 years and just see what happens. So as far as what we could see next, maybe, obviously all of these are original trilogy sets, and clearly they favor those. I think there's no question now with all 3 of these being original trilogy, all of the helmets being original trilogy, aside from the Mandalorian ones, which are kind of the same time frame. Like almost all the UCS sets are, even just regular play sets, it's a greater percentage, so they clearly favor it. I don't think we're going to see any prequel stuff anytime soon, but that doesn't mean that there wouldn't be some great ideas. First one I'd like to see is Palpatine's arrest. Like in Palpatine's office, you could include like all the Jedi that were there. I think it would just be a really great one to have. It would look really nice with the red colors and stuff. I might try to build one myself. Like this whole diorama idea is very inspiring. Like people have done stuff like this before, but now since there's kind of a theme, I think it would just look really cool to build something that looks like it would line up well with these. Another one would be Palpatine's rescue from like the beginning of the movie. So off the bridge of like Grievous's ship, and you could have Dooku and stuff there and like super battle droids. I think that would be a really cool one. You could do something from pretty much any main battle really, but something from like the Dooku versus Yoda duel on Geonosis at the end of the movie. The Duel of the Fates, like Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Maul. Like we've seen play sets of that before. So I just think like a really nice 18+ version would look really cool and be really important. Something like the Patronaki Arena. There obviously people think the Master Builder set could be something like that, or like a huge play set. I think it might just be better to have like the columns and like your main prisoners, maybe a couple of the beasts or something there, but there's not too much you can do with that as a play set because it's like just a big arena. If you're going to do like a full-size arena, and you're either going to have empty stands, you're going to have to make like 100 Geonosis minifigures to fill it out. Like where do you draw the line? Like how many battle droids is going to be enough? Like I just don't think it's practical. It would be a better idea to have it like a small set like this. I think it would work out a lot better. Obviously Mustafar, anything from the end of that movie, like we've seen that a couple times before, but something like that would just be really nice, especially with the Kenobi show being significant. Like if we're gonna see one from the prequels, I think it might be something like that. It could come out next year. obviously you could picture anything from like the original trilogy. There's so many they could do. Like there'd have to be something from Hoth, I'm sure is inevitable. If this series does continue, like there's gonna be something from Hoth probably. Something from Endor for sure. Like there's enough stuff on the Death Star. I could see like Luke and Vader's final duel happening again. Like we've seen it a bunch of times before, but they could do another like fancy version of that I could see happening. Really anything like Endor bunker, like being staged outside the Endor bunker. I think that's a really likely to happen one. Like just the door and them working on it. So yeah, lots of cool ideas for sure. That's all I really thought of at the moment. I'm sure I'll come up with better ideas later on. But let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see. If you have any good ideas of what you think would happen, what you'd like to see happen, what like realistically what you think they actually are going to release, because I don't think any of the prequel stuff's realistically going to happen. I'm not even going to talk about sequel stuff, so if you have any thoughts there, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on these models that do exist too. Which one's your favorite, and be sure again, like and subscribe. It sure helps me out a lot. It doesn't take that long. You just tap the button and it makes me happy, so I can go ahead and make more videos. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.